Good morning and welcome back to When Sports Met Sarcasm. We're less than 48 hours away from the Derby. We're going to finish up our discussion that we had on the pace. We're also going to go through the one post. I'm going to put that to bed, tuck it in, go to bed. What is the story with the one post? Why does everyone keep bringing up the death post when it's been a post only for 6 years? It's a 6-year data sample of 6 posts, 6 horses. Not all of them were even the one because Max Player drew into the one slot because Phoenix the Fierce scratched. But I'm going to go through it, and I think it's just totally overrated and over-blemished and over-exaggerated, like everything is. Like the Japan horses, like the one post, like one of our previous videos, the March Madness, how a 16 seed can't ever beat a 1 seed. Things are going to happen. Japan's going to win one at some point. The one post is going to win at some point, as long as they keep this gate, and since they got rid of the auxiliary gate. But we got miles per hour, exit mile per hour stuff I want to show you. The internal splits of all the favorites. We got Pete Rose. We obviously got Rosalind. And they got picks as well here. We're going to go through it. I'm going to speed through some of the stuff because there's been some scratches of full effort. There's been scratches of silent tactic. And those two were our keys. Since if you watch our last video, we're all about the pace melting down. We're about Bupat Seymour going fast. And now there's litmus tests. And now even Great White drew in the field. And if there's one more defection, Robusta draws in the field. There's just going to be more speed, including 6-speed, who we already talked about. So we're going to go through all this stuff. We're going to speed through it. We don't got a lot of time to waste. We're less than 48 hours from the Derby. Let's go. Here's one quick graphic just to show everyone. If you're so worried that your horse didn't win a prep going into the Derby and you don't want to bet him to win, well, if you would have done that the last 5 years, you would be okay. Because Sovereignty was coming off a loss. He lost to Tappan Street. Mystic Dan, he was coming off a loss. Mage obviously lost to who was going to be the favorite in the race. And Medina Spirit technically won. So don't let this deter you if your horse hasn't won their final prep race. Just one thing to look at. Let's get into the one post here. Okay, the one post. There's 6 horses that have raced in the new gate. The new gate is literally pushed further off of technically what would be the rail, but technically it's 30 feet over from what the death post was. When the death post was literally when you were staring right at the rail and you would have to go right to literally go straight. You'd have to go right. Now, when they put in this new gate, the one long gate, no auxiliary gate where they throw the 15 through the 20 in a different gate. The total difference is here, as you can see, you're running more now in like what the three post was of the death gate. And the death gate was a death gate because it was a terrible post. You were running into the, like we said, the rail. This isn't. This is totally different. And I'm going to show you 2 known agenda and hit show. I'm going to show you their trips to show you the differences of what people are trying to say. Like I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, it's okay for Renegade in the one post because he's a closer. You do not want this cavalry taking you out and putting you in the back because you're toast. What happens is if you come running and you run about 1.5 furlongs and you run fast, probably around about 16, 17 seconds, you're going to find that pocket. That pocket is what Hit Show found. It's actually what Dornock found as well. And Citizen Bull, he just wanted to lead, but he got it. So I'm going to go through this because I think it's just totally overrated. And also, the last positive I put here, when you move over into the 3 post and the death path, the good thing about being on the rail for Renegade is there's no one to your left. So now you have a little bit of room where you're not going right into the rail. But you also can't find trouble from your left side of the post. And not only that, he has Albus to his right side, and anyone who knows about this new gate knows that the bigger horses can struggle to get out of the gate, basically get stuck. And Albus is drawn right next to Renegade, and Albus is probably the biggest horse in this field. He's enormous. The horse is huge. So if he doesn't break well, you have the 3 and the 4 who are going to show speed, Intrepido and Litmus Test. They're going to show speed. They're going to go. It's going to be totally smart for Irad, who's already had 2 of these, the rail runs. He needs to break running with Renegade, which will show you the internal splits that he can do. When he breaks running, don't stop like Known Agenda or not Citizen Bolt, but Known Agenda. You need to keep running, and I'm going to show you how Hit Show did it, and he did it perfectly. And even Brad Cox said, I don't know about the one. He got a perfect trip Hit Show for me a couple years back. So let's look at Known Agenda, the trouble. Here's Irad Ortiz. Loves the one post. Pletcher loves the one post. Here we go. He broke clean. And as you can see, it looks like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a great trip for him. He's breaking clean. He's got no trouble to his right. Now let me show you the next graphic. He found trouble. Big time trouble. Because he wanted to relax. Instead of keep going for another 5 to 6 seconds, then settle in right on the rail as the field is stretched out, and you can get a perfect trip. Go back and watch last year. Sovereignty's on the rail. He's just in like 17th place on the rail. But this is what you don't want to do, Irad. This is what you don't want to do. You need to break running and literally run for almost 2 furlongs at a high speed, which he can do. Renegade will show you the internal splits, how he can go 11.5 early. But now let me show you Hit Show. All right, here's Manny Franco. Take some pointers, Irad, from Manny. Here we go. He broke clean. As you can see him down on the rail there in the pink silks and the black hat. Second one, still running, breaking running. So the speed's out in front of him. Even the other speed, the second flight, is still in front of him. But he's running. He's not relaxing. That is a run. You're running. Full speed sprinting here. Let's move on. There's Hit Show again. Looks like he's found himself in extremely comfortable position, literally sitting off of not 6 speed, but 6 speed horses. Sitting right off of that. That is the dream trip. Look at him. Half mile fast, 45 and 3. He is fast, but at least he's right off the pace, and he's turned the one post into a good post. Move on. There's Hit Show coming around the far turn. Perfect position. In the last graphic, the 6th graphic there, turning for home in the catbird seat. It's a perfect trip. He turned it into a perfect trip, which it can be. And I think going forward, because we've only had 6 samples, and every horse isn't designed to be there, obviously. And I'll go back and let's see. Look at this. Citizen Bull 20-1, Dornock 20-1, Hit Show 33-1, Modonegal 10-1, Known Agenda 6-1, Max Player 17-1. It's not like those horses are the number 1 favorites to win the race, and now you do got a favorite. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. All right, Rosalind, it's time for you to do something. We got to bring in a new audience here. Take it away.
It's Kentucky Derby time. Join myself, Pete Rose, and the analyst of all analysts as we will prepare you for the winner's circle on Saturday, May 2nd. It's when sports met sarcasm, and it begins now.
Welcome to When Sports Met Sarcasm. I'd like to thank everyone that just finished watching the World's Strongest Man competition. I'd like to extend our congratulations to Reno Nell from South Africa. Won it this year. Congratulations. But to our new audience, we just finished going over the one post. The favorite drew the one post in the Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby is Saturday, May 2nd. We're less than 48 hours away. We just went through the one post because everyone says it's a death post, and everyone doesn't want to talk about how there's only been 6 runnings with the new post. But now we're going to finish our discussion on the pace. We're going to finish our discussion on the internal miles per hour. On the internal splits and the miles per hour. And then we're going to get to Rosalind's picks, Pete's picks, and our picks. Now, let's see here. One quick graphic. Before the point system, they used to do earnings, and they would go off. A lot of sprinters would get in, like Trinneberg, and you would get those fast paces. And then when the point system happened, the first couple runnings was a lot more of an average slow pace. And everyone kept saying, well, good luck now. Now with the new point system, you're not going to get a fast pace, and every favorite just going to win on the front. I don't think so. This is from the Daily Racing Forum to just show basically the 12 years comparatively. As you can see here, there's actually been faster paces with the new point system instead of including the sprinters like Trenneberg and other people. Now, the reason for that is it's because it's the way the race is designed. It's a 20-horse field. You got to move. You got to get out of the gate. You got to get position. And when 20 horses want to get position, you get a fast pace. And if you throw in horses that are fast, you get even a faster pace. So let's move on here to this other DRF graphic that we showed you. This is why we are going through the pace. If it's going to be a fast pace, like when we did the Summers Tomorrow graphic with Bupat Seymour, when Rich Strike won in 2022. Summers Tomorrow went basically 45-2. That's fast. Verifying, the setup Mage, basically 45-3. The last two haven't been as fast, but they still were a fast pace. Now, you can take the total opposite side of me, which is totally fine. It's horse racing. You disagreed to agree. If you think it's going to be more fair of a pace, you don't want to use almost any of the horses I'm using. You want to use the horses that are going to be closer, like So Happy, Further Ado. Those would be the horses you'd be so excited to play, maybe Potente or something. But you want someone that's closer to the pace. Not like what I'm going to do is where I'm throwing every one of those horses out and then going mid-pack out. So as you can see, I expect it to be a fast Derby. The horses that can only draw in now, like I said, Great White drew in, he's speed. He screws up Further Ado on the outside. Then you could have Robusta draw in, more speed. So there's going to be speed. So we're sticking with the fast pace. The problem is the defections of all of our horses that we wanted. We wanted Silent Tactic everywhere. We also wanted Full Effort everywhere. Just not going to work out. Here's our graphic that we did to show everyone in that Rich Strike Derby how fast they went and where the horses are positioned at the half-mile pole and where they finish when they hit the wire. And remember, we showed you the graphic of where they hit the wire? The only one who survived was Epicenter, and we even talked about him being on the far back. There was the top 8, and he was 8th of 8th. So just remember that the fast pace is going to cook up and zap anyone in the front. And it's just too hard to stay and finish while other horses that aren't as tired as you are running faster and finishing. Take that into account. Remember, we went through the one post. Hit show. Perfect trip there. So, like I said, I don't think the one post is nearly as bad as anyone's making it out to be because everyone keeps talking about the post that it's not. The death post was bad. This is not the death post. Now, I'm not going to sit there and tell you and say, oh, when 20 horses break, everything is totally fine and nothing could go wrong because everyone's just going to break cleanly and they're going to run a real clean race. They're going to run right to form and we're going to be all set. That's nonsense because this is gambling.
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 Gamble.
It's not gambling.
Sounds like gambling.
Gambling? Who said anything about gambling?
Gambling, right?
Gamble.
Gambling.
That's all you talk about is gambling, gambling, gambling.
All right, pace projector and some picks. Let's get into this. Stride graphic. Miles per hour graphic. Go back, look at it. I found it to be very interesting on the exit mile per hour side to try to figure out who's more of a miler that could run a mile and an eighth instead of who's run a mile and an eighth that can run a mile and a quarter. And I think this graphic, we're going to find out with the benefit of the race and the benefit of hindsight. But going forward, because for some stupid reason in horse racing, we can get to we can fly around the moon, literally fly around the moon. But it's tough to get horse racing data at horse tracks. We even have horses coming from Japan and other places, and they're like, I don't know. What do you have for speed figures? I don't know. Okay, all right. Makes sense. So here's this graphic. And a couple things I'm going to point out. Santa Anita Derby there on the top with So Happy and Potente. Just the exit miles per hour is low. I even went back to look at the San Felipe, and I'm going to show you the San Felipe and the internal fractions. They're fast. It just seems like they're not the mile and a quarter horse to me. Now, So Happy will be the first one to shove it in my face because he actually does have really good stride data. He's got excellent stride frequency right there in the second column, stride frequency. The lower, the better for the Derby because the lower, the better means technically that you can stay longer. So Happy has a 2.19. It's one of the best in the field. And he's probably got some of the top speed. The problem for him is his final speed numbers are kind of low. They're less than 33 miles per hour. And what that indicates to me is he's probably a really good miler, like the Met Mile or something like that would be perfect for So Happy. But if as we go down, even Further Ado, look at Further Ado's exit final speed in the Bluegrass and the Tampa Bay Derby, 32.59, 32.91. 32.91 in the Tampa Bay Derby was the same as what So Happy ran in the Santa Anita Derby. Difference with Further Ado is Further Ado came out of the race. They found out that he had an issue, that he was basically kind of sick. And ever since then, he's been great. We'll move on to Chief Wallaby. Remember the big Florida 3. Chief Wallaby. Here he is in the Florida Derby. 34.58 final speed, which is faster than his Fountain of Youth. But you can always take a grain of salt with statistics because the Florida Derby, they went so slow early that how could you not come home faster late when you haven't really run yet? Same thing here with the Puma. The Puma at least has faced the Puma's faced Renegade in the Sam F. Davis, and then he faced obviously the big three. So in the Sam F. Davis, he was at 33.56. Tampa Bay, in the Sam F. Davis, there he was at 33.56. Tampa Bay Derby, 33.17. Renegade, who I want to get to here, and then we're going to move on. Renegade's 2 3-year-old races, the Arkansas Derby and the Sam F. Davis. His exit miles per hour is the only one in the field to approach 36. Now you can see Commandment at a 35.66, but that was because they set the really slow pace. But he was in the back. So the more I go through it, I kind of respect Commandment to hit the board, but he's such a grinder that it doesn't make it very attractive. And then the other one, Incredibolt, as you can see, 35.37 exit miles per hour. That was a 1-turn, 1 mile and an eighth Colonial Downs, Virginia Derby. So you could kind of take that with a grain of salt. I have a little graphic for him after that I'll show you because he's got such an affinity for Churchill Downs. He's like the Owen Almighty of this year. The horse loves Churchill. Gets over that track, even trains like Secretariat. So let's get to the pace projector. Don't get mad at me that I didn't take out some of the scratches yet. And there are horses going in like Great White. But let's take a look. Here's our pace projector. 6-speed, litmus test. And now you can throw in, Great White's not going to make the lead, but he's more speed. Great White will be on the outside with more speed. We get one defection, just one defection. Robusto could get in more speed. Also, if you're a Renegade lover or a Renegade hater, if there is another scratch and Robusto draws in, then Renegade gets to move out to the 2-hole. Now, if there's a scratch after that, he doesn't get to the 3-hole, then they move the 20 horse in. And then if there's a third scratch, then Renegade would go into the 3-hole, would keep moving down. That's how it works. But we're expecting a fast pace. Bupat Seymour is going to go. If Brian Hernandez strangles this horse, he should never be able to ride another horse. And Bupat Seymour should never come back to this country if he wants to rate 6-speed in a derby. How are you going to rate this horse? He's a miler. You have to go. The only way a miler could win a 1.25 mile race is by getting so far in front of the other horses. You're not going to win a 1.25 mile race with a mile horse by rating. That's stupid. Now let's see who's going to get cooked up in this pace. As we said before, the front's going to get cooked. Litmus test, 6-speed. They're all going to get cooked. And when they get cooked, that's when you need to look at the horses that are going to be about 9 horses off, or technically probably 7 lengths, 6, 7 lengths. And these are the horses that you want to focus on. Now, in the far back, obviously, full effort's gone. And the problem is Right to Party is just really not good. Albus doesn't look very good. Those are 2 of the closers left. So you're almost stuck with Incredibolt here, as you can see him in the 11. Hopefully he draws kind of that trip. Now, these are all the horses that we're going to take out due to the cooked fast pace here. So we threw them out. Now, for betting sake, I always thought it would be kind of interesting to throw out the Florida Derby. And people will say, oh, it's stupid. But if you go back and you look at all the figures, the thoroughgraph numbers, like Commandment's not running bigger thorograph numbers than anyone. The Puma's running the best of the three. Chief Wallaby ran like a 4, a 3, and a 4, which is like the same as Silent Tactic if he was in this race. So they don't have this huge, and I just showed you the exit miles per hour. It's not a huge advantage. But in the betting odds, they're going to look like the top three outside of Renegade and Further Ado. But they're going to get bet like it. And I just think that whenever three horses finish in a blanket finish, everyone always tells you, well, then it can't be a strong race. But when it happens to their horses, it's like, oh, no, they're all amazing. It's like, okay, whatever. So let's look here. If we take out now with our scratches, you'll see here, I am going to add Renegade back in just because we've lost so many horses. We lost Full Effort. We lost Silent Tactic, and it's not going to shock me one bit if we lose Renegade or we lose anybody else going forward. But these are the horses plus Commandment that I'm going to technically focus on due to the fast pace. And let me show you. Remember how good this game was back in the day? Here's all the horses. I used to love Rollerball. That was a great game. All right, Rosalind's been sitting tight. We got to not pay the bills and do another fake ad read. Rosalind, take it away.
This break in the action is sponsored by Coca-Cola, the sugar drink that has helped increase the risk of type 2 diabetes to over 200 countries. Have a Coke, a tooth decayed smile, and a heightened risk of type 2 diabetes.
All right, here's the internal splits. Now, this is California. This will show you basically the So Happy and Potenti's two races together. I included Intrepido and the Santa Anita Derby too. But the one thing you can focus on here is the San Felipe with Potente and So Happy. That was the race where So Happy took the lead and went in front and then gave it up towards the end. Then they basically flip-flopped in the Santa Anita Derby. They were Potente, went to the lead and set the pace. And then, he's the one who folded late. But if you look at the Santa Anita Derby, which was the slow pace, and you look at the exit miles per hour, So Happy was running 32.91 miles per hour through the line. When you watch it visually, it looks like he's running a lot faster. Now, Potente, think about that. Potente was running 31.45 miles per hour at the line, and I'm literally making fun of Wonder Dean because that's what he's running. And Six Speed was running 27 miles per hour at the line. It looked like he was stopping. So if you think the pace is going to hold together, I think these are two plays. I don't think the pace is going to hold together, so I think they're two tosses. But the internal fractions will show you it looks like they're milers. Let's go on to the Sam F. Davis and the Arkansas Derby to show Renegade in the one post. This is what I was talking about. As you can see here in the Arkansas Derby and the Sam F. Davis early on, he can push the button. 11.44 in the Arkansas Derby for the second split. Then the third split here in Sam F. Davis, you can see he went 11.53. He's going to basically have to do the Sam F. Davis just slightly faster. So he's going to have to run probably 11.4, 11.3, something like that, and get himself right into that pocket. And if he does, as you look at the exit for him, sub 12 last furlongs, both times. 11.99, 11.84. And we do have the Puma there in the Sam F. Davis. That was the Puma's second start of his career, so take it for what it's worth. And Silent Tactic, 12.52. Oh, I wish Silent Tactic ran. Mark Cassidy said that his foot problems were fine, and he was so excited to make one run. All of a sudden, he comes out. All right, let's look at Further Ado. Further Ado, someone out there, please let me know. Who is this horse beat? I haven't seen him beat a horse. He lost to the Puma, and he hasn't faced anybody else. I think it's aggressive to get real excited that you beat Otino by like 11 lengths. Ooh. Trad Browns might not even put him in the Preakness. So here's Further Ado. As you can see, he is closer to the pace. He is a horse that you would take advantage of if you think it's going to be an average pace. I don't think so. That's why I'm chucking Further Ado. But if you look at his internal splits, the Puma, when he beat him, was going 12.93 for that last furlong. He was going 12.98. So Renegade was going a second faster. We took at Further Ado in his blowout 106 buyer win in the Bluegrass. He's still going 12.79 at the end of the 8th. They rode him like he had to break the world record or something. But he's still only going, he's almost going 13 seconds. 13 seconds. I'm going to show you here. Let's go to this one. California. That's 12.85 is what So Happy ran. Look at this. Renegade, 11.99. The Puma, 12.69. Now Further Ado. He's running almost 13-second last 8s. Let's move on to the big 3. All right. Fountain of Youth. As you can see, they went so slow. I mean, the Florida Derby, as you can see, they went so slow. They're going 12.5, 12.23, 12.5, 12, 12, 12, 12. They never even ran any fraction under 12 seconds. That's not happening in the Derby. Now, the Fountain of Youth had a little bit more pace, so let's look at that one. So look at the last 2 furlongs here. Commandment, 12.58, 12.61. Chief Wallaby, 12.55, going a little faster, but then not going faster the last furlong, 12.75. Even in the slow pace, Commandment still owns the fastest last 8, 12.22, over Chief Wallaby, 12.47, and the Puma, 12.58. So Commandment's running the fastest 8s of these horses. He can't keep a jockey to save his life, but other than that, he's doing fine. So I don't want to go through so much of it. You can go back and you can look and make your own inferences. Now, I didn't want to rely on this horse, but there's so many horses that have been scratched that are coming from off the pace. I need to find a key that's not a favorite to use in exactas and trifectas. So let's look into this. All right, here's Incredibolt. He's kind of the closest resemblance I've gotten to Owen Almighty last year, who, of course, couldn't hit the Super or the Tri, but came damn close doing so. This horse just loves Churchill Downs. Look on the bottom, his past performances there. You can see even his last work at Churchill. Just wakes up. New horse. Those 3 numbers in the middle of the past performances are his last 3 thoroughgraphs. 21 is a terrible number. 6 isn't good either. We need him to move forward off of that 6, where he has, as I'll show you there, the 2 yellow lines. I mean, the 2 yellow lines on the left, there's only 2 turn races. One of the 2 turn races he stopped in the Holy Bull. His other 2 turn race was at Churchill, which was the Street Sense, which Sovereignty won last year. And that's highlighted in the green. As you can see, the one that's highlighted in green, above that, those are the fractions and the splits for the one that's highlighted in green, the Street Sense. He won that race, and I thought it was actually really impressive just because it was such a slow pace. They went 24, 48, 113 for the 6 furlong. This could be 4 seconds faster to the 6 furlong mark in this race. But he loves Churchill. His 2 races at Churchill are both really good. Horses that have an affinity for this track at this point in their careers, this early in their careers, it's just a must play. He outran, if you look at the pace on the top, his exit speed was 33.98. Now, this isn't going a mile and 8, that's a mile and 16. But it was as a 2-year-old. The horse loves the track. He's coming off of a 1-turn trip. So the 35.37 exit miles per hour it's a 1-turn race, and they run the race totally different. So that kind of is what it is. But Incredibolt is a must-use in exotics. I'm not going to tell you he's going to win, he's going to win. But I do think he should 100% outperform his odds because he loves the track, just like Owen Almighty did. He kept sticking around and sticking around and sticking around until finally he came in 5th. All right, let's take a look at Rosalind's and Pete's and ours. Wager time. All right, Rosalind's going to go with Chief Wallaby. Pete here is going to go with Further Ado. We are going to play the fast pace, and we are going to play Renegade. And if it's a slow pace, I think it's going to be tough to beat Further Ado. But now with the speed drawing into his outside, it could make it a little bit more interesting. But the one thing you want to do is, because we're like 40 hours from the Derby, but I bet you there'll be more scratches. The one thing you want to do is, whenever you get the final order of who's going to be in the gates, just go through it. Go through your speeds. Things can change. You can watch the races that day and find out that there's a total speed bias. Or you could say that the track is totally dead, or the rail is good, or the rail is bad. There's so many things that go into horse racing, which makes it so exciting. So this is a Derby too, where I think you could almost pick anyone outside of the Wood Memorial and you could really have a chance. So Rosalind, not too many mint juleps this year. Huh? Okay, that works. Yeah, how about you take us out, Pete? Further ado, best of luck, Pete. For anyone that doesn't know, Pete Rose had a 43-game hit streak. Yeah, I know. Every time I tell him he has a 43-game hit streak, he says it's 44. All right, whatever. All right, Rosalind, no booze. Enjoy the Derby, everyone. It comes once a year. We will be back for the Belmont. We take the Preakness off. Rosalind, you got something good to give them? Oh, okay. All right. Even better. When Sports Met Sarcasm, thank you for watching. Rosalind, take them home.
This show is sponsored to you by Billy Joel's Road Sodas. Nothing boring about these sodas. In 6 or 12 packs, these sodas pack a punch. They have even been known to assault up-and-coming actresses and models. Billy Joel's Road Sodas don't leave home without one.
Thank you for tuning in to When Sports Met Sarcasm, the media that not only informs but entertains. Bye now.